Yo, JD here. And as you can see, we are back once again. And sorry, it's actually been a little while since I've done a video. Recently been quite ill. PC has been malfunctioning left, right, and center. So it's been a bit of a frustrating week, that's to say the least. But we are back and again discussing the man, Mr. Thomas Ronhaar. And I think I've said this probably a couple of videos ago, but I think I do actually mean this now. This will probably be one of the last videos I actually make on the topic individually, because we are coming towards the end of this game. I think we should be looking forward to F1 23. Probably we will be discussing a lot more things about that, and fingers crossed that it can give us a game that we are actually going to enjoy, and we also don't even need to discuss things like this, and we can simply just sit back and respect and admire the talent we have on display. And in this video, as you can see already, and you might have already seen a few of these clips, many of you have actually asked me to comment on the recent uploads of Thomas Ronhaar, which seemingly prove that he is actually legitimate. And the reason why people say that, and I would probably agree to that as well, is because the laps that Thomas Ronhaar has uploaded have been performed on Xbox. And unlike PC, where you can simply go to a website and download a grip pack, you have access to all the game files pretty easily if you know what you're doing, isn't quite that simple in the console world of Xbox and PlayStation. Although I have to say, it is not impossible. I have yet to see someone who has deployed a grip pack on a PlayStation or Xbox. We've seen glitches where people have disappeared, reappeared, and crazy things, but from what we've seen on PC recently, I've actually yet to see that on a console, and I believe it is significantly more difficult because you don't have access to the game files direct. You really do need quite a bit of knowledge in order to do the same things that these people have been doing on PC. The laps that Thomas Ronhaar has uploaded was at Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, two tracks where he has proved to be extremely dominant on. And without much surprise, Ronhaar claimed the world record quite comfortably on both of these tracks on the Xbox platform. Today we aren't really going into a deep comparison because there isn't really many fair comparisons you can do. And we will look over the PC lap and Xbox lap that Ronhaar has uploaded on his channel. But I don't think it really would be fair to compare a time trial and an online qualifying lap, because the level of grip is a little bit different. Tyre temperatures, tyre wear, there are a lot more factors at play. And yeah, I don't think that's really going to be a fair comparison. But the difference between his Xbox world record and PC was notable, with around about a tenth of a difference in both of the laps. And now we're just going to take a look at his Xbox laps, and you can let me know down below what you think of this.
Okay, that last lap was a 1 minute 21.9.
as I've said many times, it really is impossible to determine which platform is actually the fastest because one of the main factors is just the different levels of talent. First of all the F1 eSport drivers are playing on PC, the best of the best. The FPS, the frames per second, and also the refresh rate, just really the power of the console as well. However, I do personally believe that PC is the fastest simply because you can control much more of the game's performance. And if you had an absolute beast of a PC, you can get a very smooth experience with a very high frame rate, a very high refresh rate, and I think probably the most notable was actually the input lag is definitely at its lowest when you're playing on PC compared to when you play on the console. So whatever you do on the screen, on the console there will be a very slight delay between what you're doing and then what the screen produces back to you. If you're someone who's actually had the luxury of switching between these two, then you will know exactly what I mean. But the issue we face is not many esport drivers have really come from a console platform recently to PC. The only driver to mind is actually Otis Lawrence. And if we look at his times, we do see at Bahrain that there was a similar time gain compared to when he did his lap on Xbox to when he did it on PC. Although his Abu Dhabi lap was almost exactly the same as he did on PC and Xbox. For myself personally, when I have switched between the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC platform, I have gone my fastest on PC when I have been racing online, but the difference has been extremely minimal. And I think the main reason for that this year is because 60 FPS is what everyone is running in esports. We did have a big controversy at the start of the year where a higher frames per second was actually more punishing over the curbs of the handling, and I think there was only a handful of esports drivers who really did test this for esports and they were not getting affected by the curb. So pretty much everyone else now is running the same frames per second on every single platform. It's only really the refresh rate that might be slightly higher on the PC, which will give it a little bit of a smoother experience. But I really do think it is impossible to determine which platform is the fastest. But if we do look historically, and if we do look at RaceNet, you do see that the PC times are always the fastest. But that simply could be because that they just have the fastest drivers. However, I think with this footage here, there is absolutely no doubt that Thomas Ronhaar is, in my opinion, one of, or if not the fastest driver on the F122 game right now. I've raced him in the past. His level of improvement has been quite extraordinary over these last couple of years, and especially in this last year, last 6 months, really has blown up in the pace. I think the biggest issue for a lot of people is when the majority, 26 other F1 eSport drivers are all kind of unanimously agreeing, which we have seen publicly, saying that these times cannot be achieved. And it's really just the ease of how Thomas Ronhaar has achieved this, especially his Q1 times, which we saw in esports. We've seen this in leagues such as PSGL and WOR. Having that buffer to, which I think people don't understand, the level of competition we have now. These 20 drivers are doing it full time, hours and hours a day, maximizing the game in terms of its physics, handling, and setups. If it was a setup thing, then a lot of people argue why are Ronhaar's teammates not close to his level or being as dominant as him. With the data showing, which we did at PSGL Spain, PSGL France, that ability for him to get on that traction much more earlier than anyone else, whilst having the fastest car in the straight line, which suggests he's running the lowest downforce. This is why there has been this debate, because the other best drivers in the world, they just simply cannot replicate it. And I think what these laps show from Ronhaar on Xbox is, because I think the Abu Dhabi lap he's done, that would have actually got him the world record on PC. So in a way, I think that does prove that he probably is the fastest driver on the game. But when you go into esports and the level of focus for each event, to have over a 10th gap in some scenarios, whether that's Q1, Q3, whatever you want to say, to do it that consistently at every track. Not to say, like I said before, that it's impossible, because it's not. We do have freaks of nature out there, believe me. But to do it that consistently, is that actually realistic, and is that actually viable? Perhaps it is. Perhaps we have seen a new freak talent. And if F1 Esports does go to a LAN, which I think there's absolutely no choice for it to go to a LAN because of all this, it has to be on a LAN this year, no question, then perhaps we will see the same thing. But again, please let me know what your thoughts are. And for me, the results aren't really that surprising. I do think PC is going to be the quicker platform when you are maximizing it. I don't think this really proves or disproves anything. It perhaps does prove that he is the fastest driver on the game, which, no, if you gave the best driver in the game 0.001% more grip, then that could make that buffer, that could make that difference. You might need so little that that's what you need. And I think with the pressure we have of esports, the money on the line now, and really just the fame you get of it as well, like we've seen with people such as Jarno Opmeer, like the career he's made. Now, even if he stops doing esports, I think he's going to have a pretty long-term career when it comes to social media. The benefits that you can get from this, when there's almost $1 million on the line, we have seen this in many, many other esports. I would be shocked, as sad as it is to say, that this hasn't happened already. And it's not just with people such as Ronhaar who are accusing him, whether he's legit or not. I don't know is the honest answer. I'd be very shocked that there hasn't been others who have maybe even tested these waters as well. As always, please let me know your thoughts. Keep the comments respectful, and I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.